and welcome to another Sims build. My name's Lorraine and today we're going to be working on MissSimReno's shell challenge. I have done a few shell challenges. The last one I did was Kate Emerald's and I did that back in August, but that one is on my gallery page but not on, there's no speed build for that because I didn't have a channel yet. I really enjoyed every part of doing this. It was interesting because the house is so small, or the shell is so small, I decided to use a ladder instead of stairs to make it easier to maneuver around in there. I kept thinking about what to make that long portion, and I decided to make it a music room. And the sim that lives in this build is a music professor. They're also non-binary and they are named Addison Whitfield. I made them a long time ago, but I don't believe I've ever made a house for them. I think now I'm using getting the half walls that I put on top to make it look more finished, because it looked kind of weird without some kind of like trim up there. So I did that, and then now I am putting on the rest. So the sim in this build is loosely based on an Australian comedian named Hannah Gadsby. And Hannah Gadsby's favorite sound in the world is the sound of a teacup finding its home in a saucer. So that's kind of the inspiration for this entire build, even though Hannah Gadsby is a comedian and our sim is a music professor. That homey feel of just enjoying cozy things. So there's a back garden, there's a knitting basket, rocking chair, fireplace, all the cozy vibes. I've been building a lot of cozy builds lately because I've just needed the comfort of coziness. As anyone living in the United States knows, all the comfort that we can get, or that we have needed for the last month. So here I am filling out this little grassy area. And what I like to do with this is kind of turn the opacity way down and then run it over the grass so it looks like people that have been walking by have been sort of cutting that corner, as they do, and ruining the grass, which makes people really angry. So I'm just putting in some trees now in the backyard. This build was really fun, and the thing that was so fun about it really was building the garden. I really enjoyed that. And there were so many plants and it took so long, but there's something so satisfying about watching my sim actually go through and plant all the plants in the garden that I built for them. And they were so happy about it too, which was nice. I haven't done a garden quite like this in a long time, if ever. I don't know, I'd have to look at my builds. Speaking of which, I am only 10 builds away from my 100th upload on the gallery, and I'm wondering if we should do something special for that one. I'm not sure. So for this sim, I didn't want to create like a huge kind of entertainment focused space, because I feel like they have friends, but they don't really like people in their house. They're like, you can come over and hang out, or like we can go somewhere and hang out, but don't stay too long, and you have to go now. And maybe that's because that's kind of how I am. I am very introverted, and I enjoy people right up to the moment that I don't enjoy them. I'm sure a lot of introverts out there know exactly what I mean. And it's not that people are bad or that I don't like them, it's just that I get tired and I have to stop socializing. And I'm a very homey person myself. That's probably why that idea of the teacup finding its home in the saucer really resonated with me, because I'm also a bit of an Anglophile. I'm a little obsessed with Britain. I am of British and Scottish descent mostly, so maybe that's why. So here I am doing some more of that sort of just shading in that ground, because nobody's grass is perfect. If it is, it's sort of like, it's sort of weird. Like, why is your grass perfect? It's like, do you not live in your house or something? Are you hiding something? You got like a secret basement underneath your perfect grass? I don't know. Maybe that's not fair, because I mean, people just have different priorities from me, but I couldn't imagine being obsessed with having perfect grass. Yeah, maybe that's just me. I don't know. I really enjoyed this little shed that I built here on the side. Because it was a shell challenge, I couldn't add any exterior walls. So I built this little shed out of a pagoda, which I think came from Island Living, and some debug items. And I think it turned out pretty cool. It's a little weird, but I don't know. I had this idea that maybe our sim made it out of some found items or something. They seem like the kind of person that would recycle and like be interested in making things out of found things. I just think that would be cool. I don't know. I thought it was interesting too to put that glass in the middle there. It was an interesting idea. I was trying to get it lined up so it looked like it all fit together really well, but I think I did a pretty good job. One of the things that I really enjoyed about this build is that I could just imagine living here and like the quiet and the coziness. The way that organized debug mod by Twisted Mexi helped so much with this build. Like, all of the fruits and vegetables that I'm pulling out of the menu right now are because he put them all in organized debug. So I didn't have to go through and get the seed packets and undo all the seed packets and put them in the inventory and then drag them all out one by one from the inventory, which is not a big deal if you're playing, but when you're building and you're trying to create a story and do it quickly, you really don't want to have to do all of that processing with those with those seed packets. So in the kitchen here, I used those tiles from Parenthood, and I didn't know those tiles existed until I started watching MissSimReno. So a lot of the things that I put in these, or in this build, are kind of like an homage to her and things that I picked up from watching her channel, which I will also put a link in the description to her channel so you can check her out, because she's a great builder. I really enjoy watching her builds. And I like how this kitchen turned out too. There's something cozy about it that's different from a lot of my other kitchens. I think it's like the choice of clutter I put in this kitchen. It felt more homey, because one of the things I almost always put in my kitchens is cookbooks, because as I mentioned, I think like a while back, I love cookbooks and I have a lot of them myself, but like I almost never use the olives or the chili peppers. I don't know why. I think because I think it, when you see those things at like Ross or whatever, I always am like, who buys that? And it never occurs to me that maybe people actually like put real chili peppers and real olives in big jars like that, and maybe they actually eat them instead of just having it for decoration. I don't know. I prefer functional things. I don't really like things that are just there to be pretty unless they're pretty and they have a function. Like teapots and teacups I really enjoy, but I only have a few, and they have a function. Like I use them for tea, you know, so they're pretty to look at, but you can always also use them for something. I don't think I've ever used that swatch of those curtains before. I like how that looked. I really wanted that couch to work in that corner because it fits so well, and that always just gives me so much satisfaction when I can fit a piece of furniture into a corner and it just pops right in, and it fits perfect. It just gives me joy. But in this case, I ended up moving it because it didn't make a lot of sense with the build. And as I've said before, this is a single sim, so how much seating do they actually need, you know? We had to make sure that they had a nice rocking chair though, because cozy vibes, cozy vibes. It's that time of year. I just want everything to be super cozy. Yeah. I ended up using this fireplace from Eco Lifestyle that I have never used, and I think it's because when I was playing Eco Lifestyle, when it first came out, my goal was to have a green town, so I didn't want to have fireplaces in it and then have that industrial footprint increase. So I did not have fireplaces, and I've never used it, and I really like it. It's really interesting looking, and it looks different from every other fireplace that we've gotten. I'm hoping that there's a lot of stuff like that in Snowy Escape, that even if it's something that we have had before, that it just looks really different. Because, like, we all know there's like 8 billion picnic tables in The Sims. I don't know why there's so many. I will say the one from Journey to Batu is really cool, and I like it a lot. But I'm always afraid to use that pack because nobody, like most people didn't like it. So I'm like, oh, you're not gonna have this thing if I put it in my build. Probably though, nobody cares, but I don't know. I feel like sad about that. I don't know. This is another Eco Lifestyle item I really like, is that shelf. It just goes with a lot of different decors. And of course rugs, especially that knitted rug. I think I've been using that knitted rug too much. I need to branch out a little bit. I think I've used it in like my last 4 builds or something. It just goes so well, and it's like so easy to get a color and coordinate it. So here I'm building a little pile of yarn. I was debating that maybe since this sim is loosely based on Hannah Gadsby, I was thinking about giving them a dog, because they have a dog named Douglas, and Hannah Gadsby did one of her specials that she did all about her dog Douglas. I've never used this stripy wallpaper, I don't think, and I don't think I've ever used that flooring either. I like that very subtle stripe, or not stripe, but the wood grain. It's really interesting looking, and I really like it. It looks like it was painted and then sanded or something, which I just think is really cool. Of course, this sim has to have a bed with some kind of like quilt-ish thing, because cozy. All about the cozy vibes. If you really enjoy this build and the cozy vibes, I have a whole playlist of cozy builds. I don't think there's that many on there yet, but it will keep growing because I love cozy builds. I really tried to think outside the box with this bathroom and put the bathtub on that diagonal. I think it turned out cool. I like that. I always like kind of messing with those expected kind of proportions. I think it's interesting, and I enjoy that. I really like that furry rug. That's another rug that I probably use too much. My builds always have like tons of rugs and tons of plants. I love them. They make me happy. I almost never use this particular end table. I think it's from Laundry Day, and when I was building this, I was just like, why do I not use this? This is so cool. And it looks really good. Like I enjoy the objects in The Sims that have more detail to them, and I use them a lot. And I'm not sure why I haven't used that one more. Something about the way that light looks in that alcove there by the front door makes me very happy. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because like it has sort of an antique feel or what. That was the other thing I was thinking about this sim is they're a music professor, but they might also like really love history. Maybe that's just because I love history, and so like I want all my sims to share my love of history. But in this case, it kind of makes sense, right? I think that people who like a certain brand of cozy probably like history more. I don't know. It kind of just goes with academia, and then there's like a certain type of coziness that goes with that. Of course, here are our plants. So many plants. I really enjoyed how this particular little potted garden turned out because you can see the tops of the taller plants from over the fence because of the way the fence sits. So I thought that looked really interesting. I like that. I also really enjoyed this fence. I haven't used it in a long time if I've ever used it, but I really like the ivy on it. I thought that was a very cool touch. We're just about done here, so I'm glad you guys decided to click on my video today. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe if you want to see more really awesome, amazing, fun plant content like this. Be sure to hit the notification bell so that you'll know when my next video comes out, which should generally be on Fridays, but once in a while you get an extra video like this week. And I will see you next time. Bye!